Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge and honor the traditional territories that we're on today. We're on the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7, which consists of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Kainai First Nation, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and Stoney Nakoda, consisting of the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nation. This is also the traditional territories of the Métis people of Alberta, districts 5 and 6. It's so wonderful to be back home here at the University of Calgary. For those who don't know, I was vice president of this university until I an announcement that builds on the incredible work happening right here in our province to support youth mental health. Organizations like Kickstand and the partners behind Integrated Youth Service are making a real difference in the community. Their dedication and compassion are helping youth across Alberta find the right help at the right time. We're joined today by the Honorable Marjorie Michel, Minister of Health, and the Honorable Rick Wilson, Alberta's Minister of Mental Health and Addiction, who will share more about today's investment. To begin, I'd like to introduce Minister Michel. Minister Michel was elected last spring as the Member of Parliament for Papineau, Quebec, and was appointed Minister of Health thereafter. The minister was born in Haiti and holds a master's degree in social work and organizational psychology from the Catholic University of Louvain in Belgium, as well as a certificate of diplomatic and strategic studies from the Center for Diplomatic and Strategic Studies. In 1990s, she served as an advisor to the Haitian Embassy in Paris. As of 1995, she became responsible for the coordination of logistics for the General Assembly of the Organization of American States. Minister Michel values a deeply inclusive approach, advocating for social equality, mental health, and reconciliation with Indigenous communities. It is my absolute privilege to call her my colleague and share the podium with her today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Marjorie Michel.
Thank you, really, Connie, to welcome me home here at Calgary and also at the university. I know it's quite early for an announcement this morning, so thank you to all who came this morning. Thank you to my colleague, Mr. Wilson, to being here, and also to Corey. We are excited to share some good news today for young people and their families. Because young people will be the most impacted by the decision we make today. Nous savons qu'en ce moment, au Canada, les jeunes vivent beaucoup de stress et qu'ils sont nombreux à souffrir de troubles de santé mentale. This summer, I traveled across the country. Concerns around mental health and youth mental health were constantly part of the conversation. The cost of living, conflicts, and daily pressures can take a heavy toll. And young people, like many, are carrying heavy burdens. We must help Canada's youth manage this pressure so they can reach their full potential. A mentally healthy youth population is essential to a strong, adaptable workforce and a secure future. That is why I am working with the provinces and territories to ensure that everyone in this country can have access to appropriate mental health support, no matter who they are or where they live. And it will be definitely part of the discussions that I will have tomorrow with my provincial and territorial counterparts. We must listen to our youth. We must take them into consideration, and we must go and meet them where they are at. That's why I'm happy today to announce that the Government of Canada is investing $10 million to expand integrated youth services in Alberta. That's really a great news. This means that new locations will be added in the province, existing services through peer programs, virtual supports, and more will be enhanced. Let me tell you more about Integrated Youth Services, or IYS, also called Kickstand in Alberta. This innovative approach makes it easier for young people and their families to find the help they need quickly without a referral from a healthcare provider and at no cost. At Integrated Youth Services Hub, a young person can walk in and access a range of health, wellness, and social services all in one place. These are safe spaces for youth where they can access timely help. Le modèle des services intégrés pour les jeunes s'est rapidement développé au Canada depuis 2015. Il existe aujourd'hui plus de 110 centres dans 9 provinces et 50 autres sont en développement. Across Canada, 115 IYS hubs, with about 50 more in development, are helping youth and families get timely support without long waits or referral delays. A single door can lead to a world of opportunities and support. Integrated Youth Services hubs are changing lives, offering youth and families one entry point to get help they need. Supporting young Canadians today means building a Canada strong for generations to come. I want to close by thanking all the people who are offering services to support our youth, healthcare and social service providers in particular. Because every barrier you break, every stigma you challenge, and every hand you extend ripples outwards, strengthening families, communities, and our country. I also want to thank my colleagues from Alberta for their outstanding commitment, as we work together to make these services more widely available. The success of the Integrated Youth Services model is a great example of how collaborative, innovative approaches are making a difference in the life of Canadians, and particularly young Canadians. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. For those remarks and for your continued leadership. This is a really important file, and supporting youth and mental health is a really important responsibility. Now, please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Honourable Rick Wilson, Alberta's Minister of Health and Addiction. Minister Wilson was sworn into this role in May 2025 when he was focused on strengthening Alberta's recovery-oriented system of care, expanding access to mental health and addiction supports, and fostering community-based solutions to meet the diverse needs of Albertans. First elected as the MLA for Masquaquis-Wetaskiwin in 2019, Minister Wilson previously served as Minister of Indigenous Relations, where he worked tirelessly to strengthen relationships with Indigenous communities and advance meaningful reconciliation. It's a commitment he continues to carry forward in his current role. Before entering provincial politics, Minister Wilson served for many years in local government and community leadership as a county councillor, school board trustee, chair of the Crossroads Regional Health Authority, and as a lifelong farmer and small business owner. Minister Wilson's role as Indigenous Relations Minister overlapped with my role at the government, and I can sincerely and unreservedly say that Rick is one of the most compassionate and dedicated public servants I've ever worked with. He's exactly the kind of person you want in politics. So please join me in welcoming Minister Rick Wilson.
Thanks for the great introduction. That was awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here for this important event. I'm also honored to be here on Treaty 7 territory, which has been home for the Indigenous people for countless generations. I'm so happy to be here alongside our federal partners to help share this exciting news, which is going to make a real difference in the lives of Albertans. Early support can change the course of a young person's life. That's why Alberta's government is focused on helping children and youth get the support that they need and where they need it. I'm happy to see an additional $10 million investment from the federal government. Let's give her another big hand. Thank you. This investment will help Kickstand expand their excellent work supporting youth and mental health in Alberta. This includes opening 5 new centres across our province. It's a significant step forward, and I really want to sincerely thank you, Minister Michel, and our federal partners for recognizing the importance of this work and for your funding contributions. Alberta's government continues to work with Kickstand. We have invested nearly $15 million over 3 years, from 2023 to 26, to help Kickstand grow and to strengthen its services. Funding from the province and the federal government means young Albertans and their caregivers can count on Kickstand for free, confidential help. No wait lists, no referrals. Individuals can reach out for support in person and also online. They're able to have a safe space to talk, to relax, and get the support they need. Through Kickstand Connect, young Albertans have a free confidential hub where they can book, where they can schedule appointments for mental health and addiction counseling, employment services, peer support, and more. In communities like Bonnyville, Drayton Valley, Edmonton, Fort Saskatchewan, Grand Prairie, and Medicine Hat, Kickstand centres are already making an impact. Now, thanks to this new federal investment, Kickstand will be able to reach more youth with 5 new centres set to open across Alberta. While locations are still being determined, we're excited to see that this network is growing. More importantly, we look forward to seeing even more Albertans benefit from these supports. I also recognize the collaborative work that Kickstand is doing with communities like Strathmore, the Tri-Region, our First Nations. We've got Alexis and Nakota Sioux Nation, Enoch Cree Nation, and Samson Cree Nation. Together, they're developing approaches that reflect local needs and provide culturally safe and meaningful support. This is what true partnerships look like. Meeting young people where they're at, whether it's in their community, online, or through services that honor and identify their experiences. Today is a great example of what we can achieve when we work together, when all orders of government, community partners, and organizations like Kickstand come together to support young Albertans. So again, a sincere thanks to my new best friend, Minister Michel, and our federal partners, and to Kickstand for your ongoing commitment to creating safe, inclusive spaces where young people can thrive. I'll open the floor up now to Katherine Hay, the Executive Director of Kickstand. Come on up.
Thank you so much, Ministers Wilson and Michel, for your being here today and for this exciting time. And thank you to all of our guests, both in person and attending virtually today. This is such an exciting time for Alberta's young people, and we're happy to announce this significant investment from Health Canada in the growth of Kickstand. As you know, my name is Katherine Hay, and I am grateful to serve as the Executive Director at Kickstand. Kickstand is Alberta's provincial integrated youth service initiative focused on transforming access to community-based health and social services for young people aged 11 to 25 years old and their families and caregivers. We know that most mental health and substance use issues emerge before the age of 25, and yet less than 30% of people who need help are actually connected to programs and services of any kind. This may be due to stigma or a lack of understanding about mental illness, but often it's not. This may be because people are seeking help and they're confused of where to go. They have to tell their story over and over again to many different service providers. They encounter long wait lists or are turned away for not meeting the referral criteria for the program that they were hoping to access. And what we hear over and over again is that they just give up and struggle along without the help that they need. Being a part of Kickstand is being a part of trying to rewrite this story. Currently, the Kickstand network consists of 8 community Kickstand centers, Of these, 6 are fully operational and 2 will transition to operations in the coming months, and Minister Wilson mentioned where those are. We also have the 3 on-nation projects and are working with local leaders in each of these communities to create an Indigenous implementation approach. This will serve as a roadmap for expansion, allowing other nations to also take on this work. The Kickstand network also consists of a virtual service delivery portal called Kickstand Connect. This service is accessible by anyone in Alberta who has access to the internet and provides self-service booking into mental health and substance use counseling appointments, peer support, employment support services, and more. With the Health Canada investment, we're excited to be able to continue to further expand the reach of the Kickstand network and to enhance services offered within each location. This investment will support expansion by funding the development of Kickstand centers in an additional 5 communities, which we're very excited about, and allow us to reach way more young people year over year. Kickstand will also focus on the implementation and practice of peer support services across the network and the development of Indigenous wellness service stream. Peer support is an evidence-based practice that is especially important for youth and young adults who most often turn to their own peers to find support and assistance with life decisions and help navigating life challenges. Kickstand has also prioritized a portion of the Youth Mental Health Fund investment to listening and learning from our First Nations, Métis, and Inuit health experts, community leaders, and young people about ways to better represent and address culture and ceremony as healing within the Kickstand centers. To finish, I'd really like to thank the Kickstand Board of Directors and the Kickstand Backbone team for their hard work and tireless commitment, the Mental Health Foundation and our philanthropic partners from local, provincial, and national levels for making our vision come to life, the Government of Alberta for their funding and ongoing support, for the young people who hold Kickstand accountable to creating viable, meaningful, and successful solutions, and my sincerest thank you to Health Canada for their investment in our provincial integrated youth service and our investment in young Albertans. Thank you very kindly for being here today, and I would like to invite Dr. Gina Dimitropoulos up. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I feel very honored to be here. I'm standing on the a fearless advocate for integrated youth services, and I've had the privilege of working alongside her the last 5 years, and I can attest to her passion, her commitment, and her leadership in really spearheading Kickstand here in Alberta. I also just want to start off by acknowledging the huge investment from Health Canada. From my bottom of my heart, I'm just so grateful. And it builds on the existing investments from the Government of Alberta, as was mentioned by Minister Wilson. Both investments complement the CIHR funding, IYSNet funding that we recently received here at the University of Calgary, that involves many faculty from across different disciplines, departments, faculties. Many of them are here today, and I'm going to ask them to also stand up for those who are here. With this funding from CIHR, we will have the opportunity to infuse research within all of the Kickstand sites and the new sites that will be established to really ensure that the services and interventions that we are offering are meeting the needs of diverse youth. It's really important to recognize that although we're trying to really ensure that there is a door that every young person feels that they can walk through to access services, what we want to do is to make sure that we're constantly evaluating using a learning health system. And that what I mean by that is really collecting data in real time, analyzing it quickly, and feeding it back to make sure that we are meeting the needs of young people who are racialized, marginalized, gender diverse, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, who often face insurmountable barriers, making it really difficult for them to even know that there's a door that they can access services. So we want to be continuously thinking about how do we ensure, what are the new trends that we need to be thinking about that are emerging in communities to be responsive to the mental health needs of young people. Within this project, the research project, we have two parallels. We have an Indigenous parallel and a Western parallel. And the Indigenous parallel is being led by Professor Marlon Bennett, who's here today. She could stand up. And Pam Roach. So Marlon Bennett and Professor Pam Roach will be working with knowledge keepers, elders, and the communities, Indigenous communities, to really think about what are the unique needs and how to be responsive and make sure that Indigenous methodologies, ways of knowing and being are being applied to think about how we're also evaluating what's happening in First Nations communities. And then from the Western lens, we're using cutting-edge methodologies to really, again, think about how we can work in partnership with youth, who I'm going to have the privilege of introducing in a few minutes, to make sure we're not only co-creating services, which is a fundamental principle of Kickstand that Katherine adheres to rigidly, making sure youth are always sharing and determining how services are co-created. We're also going to be co-creating the research that we're doing. In fact, young people are going to be really the drivers of how the research that gets created, gets conducted, analyzed, and my two colleagues will talk about that in a few minutes. I feel really privileged to be part of the Faculty of Social Work. As a professor of social work, we believe passionately in social justice and equity. And I bring that to everything that I do, and am really also very proud to be part of a university that is committed to transdisciplinary research and training. And our commitment is to continue to not only do research in partnership with communities and industry and with young people, we are also committed to ensuring that we're going to train the next generation of young people who will then have opportunities to work in the various Kickstand sites that we are creating here in Alberta. One of the fundamental streams within this grant is that we are starting a standout lab, which is a youth-led lab where young people will work with other young people in the province to co-create research that matters to youth. So they'll be thinking about what kind of research is needed from the ground up in these sites where there will be kickstands to ensure that what gets the research that we do isn't for the sake of just doing research. It has to be research that matters to young people. So I have the privilege of introducing two youth ambassadors, Farwa Naquir and Caitlin Greer, who are going to speak about the Kickstand, the Stand Out Loud lab.
I'd like to echo Gina's gratitude and excitement. I'm very excited about all of this work too. So I'm Kickstand's Provincial Peer Support Coordinator and a knowledge user of the Standout Lab and a former youth mental health service user. I'm incredibly grateful for the investment and commitment to peer support. This will provide the necessary resources to grow the peer support service stream across the province and really tailor it to each unique community. The Standout Lab also represents something truly special, a commitment to youth-led research, where young people aren't just consulted, but they're fully integrated as researchers, creators, and thought leaders. As someone who works closely with youth every day, I've seen the difference it makes when young people are given the space, the tools, and the trust to dream really big. The Standout Lab is going to provide exactly that. It will be a place where lived experience is centered and research outputs are directly connected to what actually matters to young people across Alberta. I'm actually especially excited about the internships that will come from the Standout Lab. These internships will empower youth to gain hands-on research experience, develop their skills, and see their insights put into action. The Standout Lab and Peer Support Service Stream truly embody the principle of nothing about us without us. It's about ensuring that youth are not just part of the conversation, they're the ones driving it. And I'm so excited to see the impact that will come from this work. Yeah, so thank you so much.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for making the time this morning to listen to all the valuable talks that we had. I'm Farwa Nakvi, and for over 10 years, I've worked with the City of Calgary and studied with youth for youth in the neighborhood services of Alberta. In the halls, the gyms, the drop-ins, I've learned a big lesson: nothing for youth without youth. I care deeply about what young people are carrying right now, which is mental health, identity, their safety, school pressure, jobs, family, responsibilities. These aren't abstract issues per se. They're the daily stuff of life that our Albertan young people deal with. When young people tell us what matters most, our job is to listen, share, and act. That's why I'm excited about the Standout Lab, like Caitlin has mentioned. It's not just another program, but a commitment, a youth-led space to directly engage, consult, and co-work on what matters to them. It's a shift from input to ownership, from asking for feedback to inviting leadership within these young people. Here's what that looks like in practice. We show up consistently, we build trust, we make room at the table for the youth who aren't already in the room, and we compensate youth for their time and expertise. We keep the loop tight, ask, act, report back, so young people can see their fingerprints on the outcome. Our and my ask is simple. Let's back this with our time, our networks, and real resources. Let's measure success by whether youth feel seen, heard, and safe to take the lead. If we do this right, we won't just run projects for youth, we'll grow a community with youth where belonging is a norm and solutions actually stick. Thank you.
Well, so thanks to our speakers, our hosts, and everyone who joined us today. What we've heard this morning is a reminder of just how powerful it can be when communities get together, when governments get together with those communities, and when organizations come together around a shared goal, helping young people get the care and support they need when they need it. So thank you again all for being here and for the work you do every day that made this possible. I will now hand the microphone over to our on-site moderator for media questions from the room.
Thank you. First of all, I'll invite everyone to go back in front for the Q&A section. There's a mic on the left side of the room for question. Please mention if your question is for Minister Michel, Minister Wilson, or MP Hogan, or even the people from the organization of the University of Calgary. We'll take one question, one follow-up, and after that, I will invite everyone to stay at the in front of the room so we can take a family picture at the end. Thank you. And please mention your name and your media.
Kevin Green from CTV News. The 5 centers that you've talked about here, can you just, kind of a housekeeping question, where will they be located in the province? When will they be open?
We're working really closely with the provincial Ministry of Mental Health and Addiction to determine a selection process. The centers will all be open by 2029, probably early 2029, yeah.
So they have the locations not yet determined.
Locations are not yet determined.
How far will $10 million go towards something like this?
I think it's a huge investment in being able to properly expand the Kickstand network. And at that point in time, we'll have 16 centers all across the province, as well as a virtual clinic. I think we'll really start to be where people know to go to start their journey on getting the help that they need. So I think it's a very significant investment, and really excited to see both the province and the federal government working together to amplify the impact that we can have. Thanks.
Is there anyone else at the mic? I can't see. I don't think so. Okay, so this will close the end of the press conference. I want to thank the University of Calgary for hosting us today, and as I mentioned, I will invite everyone to stay in front so we can take a few pictures. Thank you.
So cool.